Welcome to Tuesday. I'm laughing 'cause look, I mean, look at it. Look at the desk. This this isn't normally like this. I've got stuff for the new for a show. I've got tools that I've used to create canvases. I've got all of it. So it's a complete tip. So please forgive me. I would normally be stood up looking very professional, very organised, but I have to admit my back is kind of completely gone. So I'm finding moving and walking around really quite tricky at the minute, but being a man, I'm obviously making far too big a deal of it, but soldiering on, soldiering on. So today, this Tuesday, I'm going to be talking to you about the first half of our trip. The trip to India was very much in two halves. The first half, I mean, it's difficult to know where to start. Actually, I've done some planning, but it is quite hard to know where to start. But effectively, we flew from Heathrow to Delhi, and then we flew from Delhi to Guwahati airport, where we met the most fantastic guy, Bibhab, who's the head of Aranyak, which is basically an organisation that he built from scratch, which is sort of responsible for some extraordinary things in the world of wildlife conservation in India. And David Shepherd's Wildlife Foundation has supported him right from the start and are the longest supporting organisation that he's worked with. He then drove us with his wife, which is so special. I mean, he's such a nice guy, such a nice family. But they drove us to Kaziranga National Park. And we went on a number of tours, a number of safaris. But it was the drive. I mean, obviously the drive takes time. I think we were driving for about 3 or 4 hours, but you really get some of the local life. And as we were driving through the towns and the villages, and when we stayed at the hotel itself was beautiful. It was in farm ground, and we saw the locals playing cricket. The local kids playing cricket. I mean, it's just part of their life out there, isn't it? Even before we got to see any particular wildlife. As far as the wildlife goes, it kind of blew our mind, really. We saw so much, which is why I've got my list here. We saw water buffalo, langur monkeys, deer. There was quite a lot of deer. And even the plant life. I mean, the trees and the climbers and everything. There was one snake skin that just seemed to go on forever and ever and ever. Must have been a massive snake. We stopped for one time on this amazing sort of lake, I think it was, and we saw a monitor lizard, which I think is called the water monitor lizard because it was in the water. But Bibhab also gave us some background information on the work that he does that is supported by David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation. So I'll shut up and let him tell you about that.
Okay, so the project activities that we are running in and around Kaziranga National Park is a community education activities that those are basically targeted towards the young students, and we named this program as the Rhino and Tiger Goes to School. So that basically inculcating in the minds of students the love for rhino, which is the state animal of Assam, and also inculcating in the minds of the young students the love for tiger, which is our national animal. Yeah. So we generally every year we have a target to carry out 40 rhino and tiger goes to schools in rhino bearing areas as a whole in Assam, and out of which around 25 we do around Kaziranga, since we have a larger population of rhino and tigers in Kaziranga National Park. Because students can multiply the conservation awareness program, because they are so excited. Whatever they learn in the schools, they generally share with their parents, with their friends, with their villagers. So that is why we took students as a tool to reach out to the wider populations around Kaziranga. The first support that we got from DSWF was 1994. And ever since then, we have been getting regular support. So it's almost 31 years of collaboration, partnership, and understanding that really help us, to expand some of our conservation activities, and it really help in recovery of, especially the rhino. The poaching pressure has been declined to a great extent. So I think, the thanks goes to David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation for supporting us. That helps us to, secure the population of rhinos, tigers, and other animals, and also reduce illegal wildlife crime, in certain areas.
I guess that just gives you some kind of idea of how important and how valuable the work is that's being supported by David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation. So yeah, we're talking about the wildlife, weren't we? So we also saw boar, turtles, we saw eagles on the nest, feeding their young, which can't have been far from fledging. It was a long way off, but it was still quite amazing. And I think that's one of the biggest things. If I'd seen that in the UK, my mind would have been blown. I mean, it was blown anyway, but not to the same degree, I think, because just the sheer amount of wildlife we were seeing was yeah, just incredible. But I think I may have said that before. Bar-headed goose everywhere, literally everywhere. They're really nice, pretty birds actually, but they were very, very sort of common, and the locals were just like, oh yeah, that's bar-headed geese. It's a bit like us going, oh yeah, that's a blackbird or whatever. But they were still very, very special. However, the absolute star of the show was the one-horned rhino. This is sort of one of the main reasons that Bibhab got into the world he got into. He's a birder really, but the one-horned rhino is very special to the area, which is Assam, and they are just incredible animals. We saw lots of them for a start, but we spent one particular moment watching two sisters, one who was very young, just a few months old, playing with her older sibling, and the play was just the same play that you would get any human toddler engaging in, really. Mock fighting with big sister, running back to mum for a bit of comfort and a bit of like, everything's safe, yeah, I'm okay, and then running back to sister to have another play, and then just full of so much energy and life, and it was just superb to see. So I think that's going to have to be one of the first pieces of art I do. As you can see from the footage that I've been showing you, I'm going to have real problems trying to decide what artworks to do. There is obviously one big piece that is going to be auctioned, which kind of has to be a tiger. We'll get to the tigers next week. But so I've only got 5 other pictures that I need to do, maybe 6 if I'm very lucky with time. So this is going to be a nightmare. I mean, there probably were about 10 pictures that came out from this first section, and the second half of the trip, which I'm going to talk about next week, was even better in terms of inspiration for wildlife art and landscape art and everything else. So yeah, that's going to be a real challenge, but that's where I am right now. So you've seen the stuff that we saw on the first half, and look out for next week when I'll be sharing with you the second half.